We are approaching a moment of truth for Bitcoin. We are now in the middle of October. Bitcoin yesterday was really waking up. And on the spot Bitcoin ETF side, it had its best day in over 4 months. But you know, we are reaching a turning point. Is Bitcoin going to break out of this descending resistance and go on to try to take out its all-time high and rally like we have seen in past Octobers, Uptobers? Or is this going to be different? I think what's more important than that question is, will this cycle play out like past cycles? Will we still see an overall bull run? And I think you know my answer to that. But starting the day off, the Bitcoin miners were starting to run. Some are starting to cool down. But after a day like yesterday, you definitely can't complain. Now we do have btbt up almost 8% today. I believe it is actually the best performer. We do have others starting to pull back a little bit. Some of the last second buying opportunities. This is literally the end in my opinion. I am personally not really a buyer anymore. I am fully packed. But for anyone looking to get in last second, I believe these are the final opportunities. The farther we get into the cycle, the higher risk it becomes. But I think the risk profile is still pretty good here. And this is, in my opinion, the beginning of the run we are facing. Now I do have some articles to go over, but first I want to talk about Bitcoin, and we did come up and test our descending resistance. It looks like we got rejected on it. We did not break out. This is one of 3, in my opinion, major things Bitcoin needs to do. Bitcoin needs to take out this series of lower highs, this descending resistance. After that, Bitcoin needs to break out of its previous cycle top, the 69,000 area, and then it will work to break out of its $74,000 all-time high. So we literally have a list of 3 things Bitcoin needs. One thing we will see very soon, as long as Bitcoin doesn't suffer from a dramatic pullback here, is we will see a flip of the 50 and 200 MA, another golden cross, probably the last golden cross of this cycle, and it is coming closer and closer. The 50 and the 200 MA are only about $3,500 away. In the past, we have seen them as much as $12,000, $13,000 apart. And this cool down, this consolidation we've seen that brought the death cross, well, this obviously brought these moving averages a lot closer. This long run that we had, you know, we were due for some consolidation, and we got that. Now, in my opinion, we are kicking off the next phase of the rally, and it is basically just playing out just like previous cycles. But we are basically now looking at Bitcoin's moment of truth. We are either going to break this resistance, go to try to take last cycle's high out and new all-time high out, or we're going to find this as resistance and pull back. Possibly come and test the 200 MA as a support at 63,000. Possibly, if that fails, come down to $60,000. In my opinion, that 5th of August, 49,000, we are not going to see that again until next crypto winter, if at all. And who knows, maybe even next cycle, that might be right around our crypto winter low. It will be very interesting to see where Bitcoin bottoms out at next cycle, but we're definitely getting ahead of ourselves there. We might be due to cool down here because it does look like we're getting some bearish divergence. The RSI did not hit a higher peak. However, the price did. The RSI does look like we're starting to lose momentum. And shorter term time frames show some clear bearish divergences as well. You'll see that the RSI actually topped out here, and before that it actually topped out down here. So we have been getting price rising. However, we have been getting RSI cooling. Topped out back in October 11. However, price has definitely gone higher since. So maybe this is where we cool down a little bit, retrace a tad, set up a new support, and then finally break out of that descending resistance. That is something everyone's watching. Once we do that, I do believe that next comes the test of previous peak, then all-time high, and then the sky's the limit for Bitcoin. That is where the parabolic run enters, and that is where we see that end of year rally and the post-halving year rally. Now, we did see a wonderful day yesterday from the spot Bitcoin ETFs. They saw $556 million worth of inflows, and the devil's in the details. This was their largest daily net inflow since early June, multiple months. We will see more days like this. And ETF store president Nate Gerasi highlights that now there's about $20 billion in net flows since the Bitcoin ETF's launch. Net inflows. Sorry if I said flows. This is not retail. This is advisors, institutional investors continuing to slowly adopt. And IBIT didn't see the largest inflow. It was actually FBTC, Fidelity's fund, with an inflow of $239 million, its largest since June 4. BITB also saw about $100 million. IBIT saw about $80 million. Here's a huge positive. Grayscale GBTC saw its first inflow for October, $37 million, its highest since early May. We will start seeing, and we have already been seeing, the sellers have now exited GBTC. We should start seeing more inflows the fund overall seeing flows come in to their spot Bitcoin ETF and no longer exit. We had that mass exodus. A lot of those people that were in GBTC went on to other funds that were lower fees. And I think this huge shift has already for the most part taken place and is already basically behind us. And here's an interesting comparison of Bitcoin ETFs versus gold. Eric Balchunas compared Bitcoin ETFs to gold-based products, or ETFs, noting that since the January launch of the Bitcoin funds, the asset has hit an all-time high 5 times. However, gold hit a record high 30 times this year, but the gold ETFs have only seen $1.4 billion in net inflows, compared to more than $19 billion for the spot Bitcoin ETFs. Now, before I go, I did want to bring up btbt. We are tightening up. We are getting this consolidation, kind of similar to Bitcoin, this descending resistance we have to break out of. I do believe once we break out of it, btbt will see a nice rally. So far, it has done a little over a 5x from the bottom. I expect when all is said and done, it will be at the very minimum a 10x to a 20 to 30x. That's my expectation for btbt. And I do think the next catalyst is breaking out of this descending resistance. We do have earnings slowly approaching, but we are a ways away still. One thing about btbt is they are expecting a profit. They're expecting a 31 million in revenue, which would be a record. Last earnings, they did post a loss, but the 2 before that, they posted profitability. Not every Bitcoin miner posted 2 profitable quarters in a row before the halving. btbt was one of those, and I do expect some great things out of btbt. The AI side is quickly becoming a larger portion of btbt's business, and it might be worth a long-term hold. This might be one I hold despite crypto winter approaching down the road. But thanks as always for watching, guys. Let me know what you have been buying lately. I think these are the last opportunities. We don't want to be piling in late when things are already huge multiples from where they were. And while this is definitely nothing like buying in 2020 and 2023, I do think we will still see some nice gains buying from here. But thanks as always for watching, guys. Hopefully this day turns out pretty good for Bitcoin. Maybe we get that breakout, but I do believe it's coming, and it is literally a matter of one really good day.